What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Scratch Agency podcast, hosted by Scratch Agents for Scratch Agents. This episode is brought to you by Virtual Intelligence, your premier partners for client-facing and back-office virtual employees. My name is Turnbull, founder of T5 Insurance Services in Clinton, New York, and I'm joined by my co-host today, the one and only, you already know, hold your applause, Mr. Shawn Fitzgerald, founder of LAF Advisors in Long Island, New York. Shawn, when are we going to talk about the intro there? There's some changes we got to make. I don't know when we're going to do that. Maybe that's a whole episode.
Yeah, that'll be a separate episode where we do the announcement and everything on that.
That's fantastic. Well, let's jump right into it as we do on the Scratch Agency podcast. This is another cool opportunity for me because I have a local guy on the show to share with the world and share with the millions of Scratch Agency owners that are listening to this show each and every week. But it's a cool opportunity to have my good friend John Bartholomeo, who is the owner of Mohawk Valley Wellness. He's the owner of the gym that I go to. We can talk about that story that happened through an insurance transaction, which is a cool story for everybody that's listening. But John, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm excited, Steven. I like the build-up you guys gave each other, and I feel like a WWE wrestler coming into the ring. So I'm ready to rumble. Let's go.
Let's do it. John, tell us the story of John. I know the story of John very well. Shawn does not. The millions of listeners do not. Let's just start with a brief story of John and how you got to where you are today, and then I want to talk about the specifics.
Love it. I've always enjoyed training. Trained for 20 plus years, 25 plus years now. I have seen the value in it for a really, really long time. Graduated high school, gave college a try, was not my thing. Went into the military, which was one of the best things I ever did. Got out of the military and said, you know what? I want to be one of those crazy guys that are called entrepreneurs. What if I could take this whole training thing and combine it with running and starting a business? That would be awesome. It'd be great. And wild idea. It was great, but it's also the hardest thing I've ever done. So over 14 years, have taken this business from a 2-stall garage inside a residential structure, which is probably, that's before I met you and knew more about the insurance world, and then grew it to a commercial location, and then have grown it again, and have grown it to the point where we have full-time employees. We have employees with benefits, which is really rare in the health and wellness space, a staff of 14, and provide an amazing living for those that work for me, helping individuals be healthy, fit, strong, build better habits, build better routines, which helps everybody, right? So it's a really rewarding line of work to be in. It's been awesome. I'm excited to kind of share some of the parallels of exercise and nutrition and business ownership and how that's extremely important, especially as you're starting up. So I'm excited to be here. It's coming up on 14 years, and it feels like that.
That's incredible.
It's been a fun and exciting ride, and I'm happy to share and help as many people as I can.
Shawn, I want to just add real quick I want to just side note really quick, and then we can come back. And I want John to comment on this, like the power of community. And Shawn, I talk to you all the time about my Friday morning group that's at John's gym. John's a member of that group. There's about 6 of us. There's about 7 or 8 of us. I think 6 of us that show up. That's another story. But if it was not for the gentleman you see on the screen here now, and those other individuals, T5 would not be a thing. There's no doubt about it. There's no comments about it. There's nothing. Because of the group that I surrounded myself with local people here to push me to be better, saying, you could do this, you can do this, and help you push that. Having the community of people to push you be better is what we're trying to build with the Scratch Agency community here, but the mastermind communities that we have in our own respective lanes. I know, John, you do a lot with other gym owners locally, internationally, whatever it is, in coaching sessions. But talk about that experience of just having community to help you push to be better. Because remember, we're talking to folks that are either starting a Scratch Agency, have started a Scratch Agency, general business owners, like you said, about being an entrepreneur, or thinking about doing it.
Love it. Jumping right in. You've got to study the individuals that are around you. And as you are an aspiring business owner, you've started this thing from nothing. You over time need to cultivate and find individuals that are trying to be better. And what better place than a gym, right? You walk through the door to do exercise, which at its rawest form is uncomfortable. You know what else is uncomfortable? Starting a business from zero. So you're at least around people that have one common trait. We like to do things that are challenging. So you start to see these individuals and you see them on a regular basis. And that's a big part of what helps individuals be successful in a gym, is that they start to have individuals that they train with, that they know, that they have a cup of coffee with after they work out. And it helps with the adherence to training. So finding a supportive community that is doing something productive in the physical training sense is amazing. And maybe it's not a gym, maybe it's martial arts, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's rock climbing. But finding other individuals that are physically training, and then bonus on top, if they're physically training and they are business owners, that's like the magic combination, because then you can train together. And much like Stephen said, after we train, we'll sit down and say, hey, what's going on in business? What's the struggles? And you can share information and ideas, but you're just with people that are trying to be better in the same areas as you. So the physical side of it definitely ties into that. And knowing that you have these people you want to see makes it more likely to show up, makes it more likely to have those conversations, extremely beneficial, and you get a workout in.
Yep.
I love that. You know, it's so funny that you said that, John. My business mentor recently said, oh, you want to connect with other high level entrepreneurs or business owners or just successful people in general? He's like, go sign up for an Ironman. He's like, you'll run into a bunch of them.
Absolutely true.
Obviously a little extreme, but still, like, I think there is a lot of truth to that, you know?
Absolutely true.
So the reason, John, we wanted to have you on specifically, I wanted to get that little part out of the way though, is talking about the battle of being a business owner and how you could maybe give yourself excuses of letting your health and wellness, your mental health and wellness, whatever it is, the things that we talk about, you and I, on a daily basis, let those things slide because we're so busy starting out a business. We're too busy to do that workout. We're too busy to do that. And like the importance and the results of what making that a priority in your life, going to the gym, eating right, sleeping good, all of these things that you talk about and preach to your current clients, your corporate clients, all of that stuff, when you are in those early stages. So I'll let you take that ball with that and run, and then we can go from there.
So I'm going to take it to the end goal. Why did Joe start this scratch insurance agency? And ideally, he probably wants to build a business that can support his family and other individuals and have it for the next 10, 20, 30 years, maybe exit and sell it, things along those lines, right? So let's look at the end goal. Time freedom, financial freedom, great goals. But what if you have all the time in the world, you've got a fat bank account, but you are so unhealthy that you are just miserable and you don't want to do anything? It hurts you to go for a walk. It hurts you to go fishing. It hurts you to golf, because you have built this business from zero to a really great, amazing machine that is producing cash flow. And again, time freedom, financial freedom, but you don't have your health. What good was it, right? If you're, the acronym FIRE, financially independent, retire early, and you call that at 40 years old or 43, but you are so unhealthy that you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor. To me, that's a shame. So circle back to the beginning, and yes, it's hard. Yes, you're working long hours, and that doesn't necessarily stop as the business gets longer and more mature. But making your physical health and your mental health a priority in the very beginning will help you stay stronger in the game to build that magnificent business that you look back at year 10, year 20, year 30, and you're proud of. If you are eating really poorly, if you're sleeping really poorly, if your alcohol intake is too high, if your sugar intake is too high, you just won't have the physical energy to put in the 12-hour days, to get up early and do these things. And it seems counterintuitive to exercise to get more energy. But if somebody listening is in a state of low energy and maybe they're heavier than they want to be, you got to get the body moving. You got to get the body moving. The brain always works better when the body's moving, and you will have more energy in the long run. So I take it all the way out of like, when this business is done for me, whenever that is, I want to be strong, healthy, and able to do whatever I want in the physical sense. And this business has allowed me to do that. So I would say it is paramount for a scratch business owner to make health and fitness part of their daily routine. And again, it doesn't have to be anything extreme. It doesn't have to be 2-hour marathon workouts and weighing and measuring all your food. a really good actionable step would be, hey, what's the biggest bucket I could work on? Maybe you're already active, but your nutrition is really poor. All right, work on one thing in the nutrition for the next month, and that gets better. And then work on one thing with sleep, right? You don't need to tackle it all at one time, especially if you're building a business from zero. But to put the blinders on and pretend like health is not going to be important to building your business where you want to be is false. It's false.
Yeah. John, it's such a good point. I the way I break it down for myself is in like 3 different buckets, right? Like I'll put family in one bucket, health and fitness in one bucket, and then business in another. And for me, prior to this year, just putting myself on the hot seat, like prior to this year, I would always flip-flop business in front of health. As far as like what's prioritized. And what I noticed, I don't know why it took me so long, but what I know, I think maybe because I was just starting to get to a really busy point in my business, I put business ahead of fitness for probably the longest time I've ever done it. And I noticed I was getting a lot done in the business, but like you said, my energy was low. I wasn't feeling happy. I wasn't really liking the way I looked. I wasn't as confident. And once I decided to make something just hit me. I'm like, I have this all wrong. Like I need to put health and fitness above everything and I know it sounds kind of crazy to say put it in front of your family, but the way I looked at it is if I work on myself the best I can and I'm happy with how I look, I'm energized, I'm happy, that's going to positively impact not just my business and my leadership, but also how I am as a father. And that's actually going to make my family life a lot better. So it sounds kind of crazy to say out loud, but I've actually put health and fitness above family and business because it positively impacts those 2 things below it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, my friend.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Right? Because nobody loses when you become healthier and happier. I would have to imagine as you start a business from zero, sales is going to be a big part of that. Think about what sales is. Sales is a transference of energy, and you need to be enthusiastic and you need to know what you're talking about and bring that energy to your sales. And if you have not moved your body, if you've not eaten a meal that makes you feel good, and you come into the sales, shoulders slumped, looking at the floor, feeling like, not feeling your best, it's going to impact your business. If your business gets negatively impacted, guess who else gets negatively impacted? Your family. That depends on your business. So yes, I agree. Carving out 30 to 60 minutes, maybe 90 minutes, at least 4 or 5 times a week, absolutely paramount because you will feel better and it will have that effect into everything else that you're doing. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think first, this could be kind of controversial to say, but it is what it is. Like, I do feel like first impressions are like a huge thing. And let's be honest, like if I meet you, John, and you own a CrossFit gym and you look like you're in great shape, like that builds a ton of credibility. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And also in my mind, I'm already thinking, oh, John's really disciplined. He has a good work ethic. I bet you John gets after it every day. That's somebody I want to be around. But and I'm just being honest with you, if you were overweight and out of shape and you owned a CrossFit gym, I'd kind of be like, oh, that seems kind of odd. I wonder kind of what's going on there. Is he not disciplined? Is he, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Like, and I'm just being honest. That's how I would think. So I'm sure there are other people that think that way,
There's a term for that. It's high performers like to be around high performers because they understand, going back to what Steven said in the beginning, the people you surround yourself with rub off on you. So I want to be around people that are pushing to be better in their business, pushing me better in the gym, pushing me better as a father, as a husband, whatever that role is. I want to be around those individuals. And as you're building these agencies from zero and you are approaching clients, and these clients have the possibility of being a high performer, they are going to do the same thing. They're going to look at how are you dressed? What's your posture look like? Where's your energy? Are you well groomed? Like all of these things do play a role in building a successful business. I am 100%. If somebody comes in to sell me something, I take a look at them and see if they're well put together. I necessarily don't want to do a lot of business with individuals that I don't think have enough self-respect and self-esteem to run a comb through their hair or tuck their shirt in if they have a tuck-in shirt or have a collared shirt on. But that stems from how does that individual feel about themselves? Like you said, Shawn, when you weren't training, when you put that in the back burner, you weren't feeling all that good about yourself. And it's not about pumping your head up and building this big ego. It's about the internal chatter that we have in between our ears every single day of knowing what we need to do and doing it and putting that check in the box and then going into the office and doing the work because we know we've already fulfilled that contract with ourselves of I'm going to go for a run today. I'm going to lift some weights today. I'm going to go to jiu-jitsu today, whatever it is. You've fulfilled that contract with yourself, which makes you feel so good that it's impossible for it not to spill out into the other things that you do.
Yeah. John, one thing I want to touch on with this, just because, like I said, prior to this year, it's something I struggled with, but I think it'd probably be a good thing to talk about is when, let's say you are staying consistent with your fitness and health and you fall off for whatever reason. Let's say it's Christmas time, you eat a bunch of cookies and that spirals into whatever. How do you get back on the wagon and stay? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, great question. And number one, everybody, myself included, paid professional athletes, I don't care, no one goes through and eats perfect and never misses a workout. So number one, get out of that mindset. You have to, number one, the previous before that, Shawn, is knowing what on track looks like, right? Making sure you know what that means. Because if you've never exercised or you've never eaten well, you might not even know what the tracks look like. And if you're in that bucket, reach out to a good coach to help you get an established track to be on. And then it's identifying, hey, and we all know it. Once we go off that track, I don't feel as good. I'm a little lethargic. Like you said, I don't really like how my clothes are fitting today. We have these internal temperatures, these regulators like a thermostat. And when it kind of gets a little high, we've got to get back on track faster. And the easiest way, make it simple. So if you have been off for a week, 2 weeks, great. Just go for a walk. Just simply walking, listen to a great podcast like this one, whatever you guys want to do. Just that gentle movement will make you feel good. And then you're like, ooh, I want to do that again. Same thing with a good meal. Just make it as simple as possible to do the right thing. Don't get off track for 2 weeks and be like, all right, I've got to have 7 workouts in a row and they got to be 90 minutes and I got to eat nothing but broccoli and chicken. No, do the next right thing. Go for a walk. Get rid of the soda, have a water. Because as soon as you do that next right thing, even though it's small, it'll help you do the next right thing. And then the next right thing. And it'll compound. And inevitably, you'll get off track again. But the goal is to get back on track faster than you did last time. And stay on track longer. It's don't spend time wallowing in, it's been a rough 2 weeks. Just get right back to, like I said, make it simple. Go for a walk, a mini workout, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And John, it's great you said that because that's, I hired a coach recently to help me with like my nutrition plan and fitness. And that's like one of the first things he said to me. He said, hey, Shawn, you know what? If you have a cheat meal and, you decide to fall off track for one meal, he's like, dude, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure you get right back to it. He's like, don't worry. Don't sit there and dwell about it because that's when you spiral and start getting out of control. And then the second thing, well, you kind of touched on it too, is like, I think the other benefit of having a coach like you, John, or whatever, is you kind of feel a sense, like Steven, you mentioned you guys have the group that you all kind of stay in touch with for the fitness. Like you almost get a sense of like you're letting other people down.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? So having that accountability is huge. And then I think the last piece for me is the vision. So, Steven, you and I have been talking a lot about like vision for the business. I think you need to have a vision for your fitness and health as well. Like, what do you want your body to look like? And I say that because if you do fall off track for a meal or a day or whatever the case is, if you can go back to your vision and say, oh, well, I'm going to be dramatic here, but I want to look like The Rock. Like you're going to get back on track because you know what your vision is. You know,
Yep.
so I think that's another key
Guys, give me
component
a
to
half a second. I'm just going to have them turn the volume up way louder in the
I was
gym.
going to say, take us into the class and we'll
Sounds
show
good,
them.
yeah.
We'll show them
I'm
what
gonna
to
tell
do.
you guys, I need that volume at least 3 times as loud.
Yeah,
Could you
yeah.
imagine playing music in a gym? Crazy idea.
Shawn, one thing, we're just going to keep it rolling here until he gets
Yeah.
back. Well, one thing that I think is so incredible about this is that there is a lot, and we talk about this with many different things, and this has nothing to do with insurance, but there's so much of what John's talking about and so much of what we're talking about when it comes to health and fitness that is directly the same thing in our agencies. Like when you start a business,
totally.
when you start an agency, you're not going to have all your processes done. You're not going to have all the employees that you ever want. You're not going to hit all your goals. You've got to start ticking one thing off at a time. And it's the same exact thing that we're talking about with health and fitness. And John, I want you to specifically talk to somebody that might be listening to this, where this was kind of like a oh shit moment of like, man, I've been at the scratch agency for 2 years and I haven't been at the gym. And I'm now realizing like, maybe I need to start getting back to these things. Like talk specifically to them. Like what should their game plan be? And maybe tie in like what are some misconceptions that you hear that people may think when you're working with all the individuals that you do?
Oh, Steven, here we go.
Can of worms open. Here we go.
I'm glad you're watching this. I'm glad this was a gut punch to you. Like, man, my business is growing, but so is my belly. So are my chances of diabetes. So we're going to squash that. What we're going to do is say, hey, cool, you're human. But hey, we're human, which means we got to be healthy. Cool. Here's what we need to do. The smallest hurdles that you can set for yourself. Maybe you don't have an hour to go to the gym. Cool. How much did you walk last week? There is this massive, here we go, misconception that like walking is for like the elderly. No. If that's all you can do, I just sent somebody today. Go to Walmart, go on Amazon, get a $10 step tracker and put that bad boy at 10K, 10,000 steps a day. And then there's your one little thing to start doing for movement or exercise. Because if I say, Tom, go do jujitsu and he hates it, he'll never do it again. Tom, go lift weights and he hates it, he'll never do it again. Walking, you already have to do it. And you make a game out of it. And you go, ooh, check that out. I got 8,600 steps today. I bet tomorrow I can get 9K. And then you start getting 9K on average. You're like, 9K is pretty close to 10K. I bet I could. And you start parking further away on lunch while you're talking on a business call. Guess what? You're also walking. You're doing all of these things. So start with something that your brain can actually say, yeah, I can do that. So there's your movement. Your next one is your nutrition. Make one change at a time. Like, all right, instead of every meal is going to be broccoli and salmon. No, it's not. It's not. Let's be honest. Hey, can I have a healthy breakfast that looks like some eggs and a piece of fruit and a protein shake, right? Make it easy. It doesn't have to be a lot. Here's another misconception. It doesn't have to be pretty to work. It just has to work. No one cares what your breakfast looks like, right? This Instagram-worthy post of like some fancy egg dish, great. You know what works really, really well? And also here, fun fact for business, doing the right thing that's boring all the time. Do I get excited to have ground beef and sweet potatoes and eggs? Yeah, I do, because it's actually really tasty. But is it like the most fancy meal ever? Like, Steven, check out my meal. Like, no. But it works. It's super easy to produce. I cook a ton of ground beef at a time. Sweet potatoes, you can do white potatoes. You put them in the oven and you go fold the laundry. Eggs you can make in 5 minutes. So it has to be simple enough that you can see yourself doing it and it move you in the right direction. So I would tell you, if you're struggling on the nutrition front, pick one meal. Don't pick breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Make one meal better systematically and do that for 30 days. If you make one meal better and you start walking and increasing your step count, you're going to feel better and look better in 2 weeks. You do that for a month, you'll be in a great spot. And then because of that dopamine release, you're like, you know what? I want to do more of this. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, what about my sleep? What if I got my phone away from me so the last thing in my hand wasn't my electronics and the first thing in my hand wasn't my electronics? Boom, my sleep is 10% better. And much like business, there's no one silver bullet that if you do this one thing, your business is just amazing. Health and nutrition is no different. It's 100 golden BBs. It's all these. Yeah. It's a recipe of all of these things done over time consistently. Wild that we're using that word, right? The parallels between health, fitness, and business, you can't not see them. You have to do the right thing consistently.
Yes. Man. Dude, I'm liking John a lot. I'm about to You guys
I
come
told you.
move down to Long
Told
Island,
you.
or I'll move to Utica, whatever. John, you know what I think is so cool about that subject, that topic too you just touched on, is like when you focus on bettering yourself, whether it's just one little thing at a time, and you start to notice the changes in your body, you're also, to your point, Stephen, like you're making an impact on the people around you, because all of a sudden people start saying, "Oh, Shawn, you know, your arms are looking kind of good," or "What are you doing to do this?" or what, and then all of a sudden, like the people closest to you start your activities start rubbing off on them. They're like, "Oh, maybe I'll go to the gym a couple extra times a week," and you start like really impacting people's lives, even if you're not a trainer or the owner of a CrossFit gym. So I think there's so much power to it. You know, besides just the impact you make on yourself, you can make an impact on a lot of the close people around you. You know, obviously there's going to be some people that just shun it away, but if you make an impact on one person, I think that's a huge deal, you know?
And exactly to what you said, there's two ways you could take the statement. Damn, Shawn, what have you been doing? And damn, Shawn, what have you been doing?
Yeah.
One is apparently not taking care of your health and fitness because you don't look that good. Damn, Shawn, what have you been doing? And others, damn, Shawn, what have you been doing? Because you look really good and healthy and vibrant and energetic. You want to be on the receiving end of the positive. What have you been doing? Because same sentence, two different ways to take that. And here's another thing, right? For anybody, Tom, who's listening to this, if he's a father or down the road he becomes a father, you know who your children look to as a role model? You. Why would you not want to be healthy and energetic and strong and have the bandwidth to now not only run this business, but to have a family and to finish the long day of work and actually have the energy to go outside and play with the kids? Like, I have two young boys and my days are long, but yesterday my younger son, or my older son, Benjamin, said, "I want to go outside and play." I said, "Cool, let's go." Rather than putting my health on the back burner of the someday my health will become important to me. I'll tell you, if that becomes the someday, it won't happen. You have to implement it now, even in small doses. Like, hey, Tom can't do walking 5 days a week. I can guarantee you could do it 3 days a week. I can guarantee you could do some small changes in the nutrition because you have to eat regardless. Mm-hmm. So this idea of, oh, I'm just staying healthy for John is false, right? I literally have pictures of my sons, my wife on my desk as reminders of like, this is why I'm doing it. And actually, we'll go back 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes ago. Shawn, you're talking about, Stephen, we're talking about, we have this vision for the business. We can see what we want the business to be in the future. It would behoove you to do the same with your physical body. I'll turn 40 this year. I have written out what I want to look and feel like at 50. I know how much I want to weigh. I know how much I want to be able to do with these different metrics as far as training. And what that does is that's 10 years out, but it helps direct my actions and behaviors today to make that a reality. That sounds like projecting what you want to do in your business in 1, 3, 5, 10 years, because you know you've written it out and you know what that's like. Both are super important.
Steven, get me on this Friday group chat already. All right.
Finally, come up to Utica. Here we go.
Last thing, Steven, because I know you want to hop into. John, you mentioned about being a role model to your kids, basically, which I have two young kids too. Couldn't agree with you more on that. And Steven, you mentioned how a lot of the fitness and health stuff correlates to business. Well, guess what? When you focus on yourself and you get in great shape, you can become a role model for your team as well. And I think that's another just invaluable thing you can get out of focusing on your health and fitness.
Yeah, John, talk about that, because I know you have some experiences with that and a lot that you can dive into that.
Obviously, the niche market that I'm in is health and fitness. But would anybody want to walk into my facility and meet me as the owner, and I'm ashing out my cigarette, drinking a Mountain Dew, and I'm visibly 50 pounds overweight? No one would take me serious, and no one would want to work for me. Now, starting a scratch insurance agency, you're not selling fitness and nutrition and exercise, but you will become a leader. You will. If you do this the right way and your business grows, you will have employees, and you are by definition a leader. Who will people want to listen to? An individual that puts the time and effort to take care of themselves and is healthy and is driving the train, the ship, whatever analogy, the submarine, whatever analogy you want to use, driving it forward, they're going to want, I'll speak from my business. I feel that they'll want to follow a leader that sets a great example of that. If you want to, we have to hire 2 individuals. Tom is healthy and energetic, and he takes great care of himself. And Roger, they're both equally qualified, but Roger isn't. Roger's kind of unhealthy and has bad nutrition habits. As an employer, you're probably going to want to lean, if they're all equally qualified, you're probably going to want to pick the healthier individual. Well, if you're not demonstrating those things and you hire a healthy, fit individual, they're like, just maybe not a culture vibe. And again, not everybody has to be this crazy fitness enthusiast and be super excited to work out, but a baseline level of taking care of yourself. What's the most important, right? You guys are protecting assets. What's the most important asset you guys will ever have? All of us will ever have. Our brain and our mind. It is absolutely shown time and time again, impaired sleep, too much sugar, too much alcohol, lack of exercise, early onset dementia, lack of cognitive function. Like, this is what helps you build a asset that is your agency that you can have for 50 years. You can sell, you can do whatever you want. If this goes to mush in your 30s and 40s because you don't take care of yourself, you might as well say, I don't care about my business. That's my 2 cents.
So going back to the person that's listening to this and having the oh shit moment, talk to us about tracking progress. Because I know you've talked to me about this all the time. You know, we have at the gym, Shawn, one of those in-bodies that scans everything and can show you all the different metrics. And there's been plenty of times where I'm on that track and I'm having great weeks. And then I come in and do my weekly scan and it's tracked the wrong way. And John talks me off the ledge. And, that like you said, maybe that one meal or whatever, Shawn, talk about, I know I got to start. I'm going to start by getting my 10,000 step tracker, and I'm going to start doing that. That's step 1. But talk about tracking progress and how that helps you win this game.
I love that you just finished that sentence with this game. So let's talk about finite games and infinite games, right? So you've got 2 different things. Business is the same thing. You don't win health. You will never get on the scale one day. You'll never bench press X amount of pounds and go, that's it. I'm done. I retire from health. I've hit the pinnacle. I don't need to do anything else. Health and wellness is a game that you play continuously and you look for progress over time, just like business. You ideally are not go, today I closed a big account for my agency, so now I'm retired and I'm never going to do anything ever again. The second you do that, your business erodes and goes backwards. So what you're doing is you're looking for measurable progress in areas that are correlated to your goal. All right, so we'll do one on nutrition, then we'll do one on business. Hey, my weight today, Tom is listening to this and he's 276. Awesome. That's your starting metric, right? Your weight does not define your value as a human being. It's just your gravitational force on earth. 276, that's your starting point. You start with, maybe 5,000 steps and you clean up one meal. Next thing you know, 276 is 269. Dopamine's flowing. Next thing we know, we're walking 5 days a week. And we're also making our breakfast better. Next thing we know, we're 265, 261, 259. So that right there, the weight is a lagging measurement of all the leading indicators. The leading indicators are how often did you walk, how long did you walk, how many good meals did you have, how was your sleep. So you have these leading indicators that will show you the lagging measurement. Ding, ding, ding. Sounds a lot like business. The lagging indicator was how much revenue did we make this month. The leading indicators were how many sales appointments did we have, how many converted into sales, how many new contacts did I make. So again, this podcast should, especially for somebody that's head down, like, oh, he's talking about leads and sales. Oh, I get that. Cool. Take that and literally overlay it over your nutrition. Oh, check it out. How many good meals did I have? Lagging indicator, weight is going down. So you can't pull the 2 apart, or they go part and parcel.
Yeah, and I think too, to build on that, another thing that correlates with business and health and fitness is my experience prior to having a coach is I would work out 6-7 times a week and I would see progress and I would eat better and I would eventually almost plateau. And I realized to kind of break through that plateau and take it to the next level, I needed to hire somebody to help me. Because truth is, I don't know nutrition wise what I should be eating, am I working out too much? Am I working out not enough? Am I working out hard enough? But just like in business, when you plateau or you get to a point like you don't really know how to take it to the next level, you have to hire somebody. In my opinion, you should hire a mentor or a coach or someone to help give you the advice to get you to the next level. So I just think that's another thing that correlates between the two.
Absolutely true. I had a great conversation with a close friend of mine this morning talking about jiu-jitsu. And I said, can you learn jiu-jitsu by watching YouTube videos? Absolutely. I said, but if you are in Colorado and you get a coach tomorrow and I do jiu-jitsu via YouTube and we meet up in 3 years, guess who's going to be significantly better?
Yeah.
The guy that got the coach. What a coach does for you is they tell you, no. I know you think that's a good idea. It's not a good idea because I've seen how that plays out. Don't do that. A coach is like a time machine. They help you get to where you want to be faster, or like you said, break through a plateau or sidestep an obstacle or a pitfall that people without a coach will fall into. And that's absolutely true, right? You can get to a certain level with different things, and then you say, all right, I want to go and take it to that next level. Then you've got to find somebody that's been there and has done it and can say, yeah, these are the exact steps. This is the recipe to go from good health to like extremely above average health.
Yeah.
So good, John. We're going to wrap this up for time here, but talk about some of your offerings, because I know you have the ability to work with folks all over the place. If there's anybody who wants to get in touch with you, some of the business stuff that you're doing with the corporate wellness, anything like that, or maybe if somebody just wants to pick your brain and see if you know somebody in their market that they can talk to about taking these next steps, what's the best way to do that?
So it would be John at MohawkValleyWellness.com. You can reach out to us, Mohawk Valley Wellness on Facebook, on Instagram. Direct message is perfectly fine. I'm on Facebook, John Bartholomeo. It's a picture of me and my beautiful family. And as you can tell with these 38 minutes that went by like that, this is what I do. I love it because it's extremely rewarding. There's nothing I enjoy more. I just go on my social media, just post a picture of been a good friend of mine for 10 years. Started on 4 medications. He's down to 1. He's down 31 pounds. He's a wild idea. He's a business owner. And guess what? I can guarantee you that things are going better in other areas than just his health. But because, like we were saying with Shawn, he put the health at the top of the priority list, everything below that went really well. It's the relationships get better. The business gets better. Your peace of mind gets better. We all know. Right? We can pretend, Tom watching this can pretend like he doesn't know. We all know that we need to take care of ourselves. We know that. It's built into our DNA. We know that. But we can rationalize a ton of different things. Well, at year 5, I'm telling you, if you're going to wait to year 5, you're only making it harder. If you put that on the list of things you need to do, again, in a small measurable dose, you'll get to year 5 being a way better spot than year 5. And then you got to take a year off because you're a stress case and you're just completely wrecked. And then you got to go backwards. So don't go backwards. Go forwards.
So good. John, thanks for taking the time to join here. Everybody, make sure to check them out. Check out the Facebook page, Instagram. They do a great job with sharing stuff there too. That's another episode of the Scratch Agency Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, like the show, share the show, and subscribe. But most importantly, remember to dig down deep, believe in yourself, and own your own future. We'll see you next week. Take care.